get this recorded. So welcome to another live trading session. It is October 28th, nearing the end of the month, Wednesday. It's the middle of the week, midweek, guys. So we want to make sure that we clean up our charts a little bit. We had some setups move in our direction overnight last night. So what I'm thinking today is, like I said, kind of just clean up the charts a little bit, look for the next setups. Nothing too crazy out here. Basically, in these live sessions, what we do is we go through all the major pairs and a lot of the minor pairs. We just do our top-down analysis. What does that top-down analysis include? It includes starting on the highest time frame possible, getting a sentiment of what the overall trend actually is, placing our monthly, weekly key levels here, which I already have on here, looking at the moving averages, and then moving down each time frame until we can see structure a little bit more clearly. So down to the daily and the 4 hour. So these time frames are really where we're going to be counting market structure. As we can see on this daily time frame on this one, we are within this range that we drew out on our monthly and weekly. And then this is when we're going to start to break down price action closer to where we're actually at. And we'll bring on our fibs, supply and demands, trend lines, support and resistance. We'll look for price action. And we'll look for our bearish and bullish variations. We'll try to build up confirmations, guys, so that we can actually get in on entries and get into some profits. I've been answering some messages, and a lot of people are struggling with entries, entering in the wrong spots, entering too early, or I say if you enter or if you miss the entry, if you're too late, if anything, you guys are solid, because that just means you're being patient. If you miss an entry, it's not the end of the world. Then you can just review it, look it over, and get in on the next one. So if you're ever too late on an entry, don't be too upset about that. I know we still got some more people joining here. What's up, guys? What's up? So we're going to kick this session off with DXY. So last night, or let's just start all the way up on the monthly. So monthly time frame on DXY, what I've been kind of basing my bias on is this bullish engulfing candle here. So we came down to this low. We fell below the moving averages. Overall, we are bearish on this. We fell below the moving averages, and we had this bullish engulfing. So this told me from last month that we had a ton of buyers step into the market. We did have some resistance on the upside with this wick, where we rejected this previous monthly level. But I did expect us to have more buying pressure considering how this closed last month. So as we break this down time frames to the weekly, we just want to see, what is that monthly engulfing candle breakdown into? Down to the weekly time frame, it doesn't look like anything significant. Moving averages still very much red over blue, still below the 200-day. So those are two key indications that we are still in a very bearish trend. And then as we get down to the daily and to the 4 hour, this is really going to be the time frames where we can designate whether this push to the upside was a bullish push or whatnot. So as I come down to the daily, I'm just going to fib from this previous high to this low. As we can see right here, we came all the way up to retest right around this 38.2 level. Hold on a second. We came up right around this 38.2 level and then had a lot of rejection where we pushed all the way down, and we've been in this red over blue. We've been in this bearish trend. Yeah, like Hanzino said, let's go into the 4 hour time frame now. All right, so now we have to build a case for why we looked for this bullish push up. We're bearish on every single time frame, weekly, monthly, weekly, daily, very bearish. And then all of a sudden now we're starting to get a lot of bullish momentum. We're pushing back up. And when did I start to look for bullish opportunities? So guys, even though this thing is bearish on the weekly, the monthly, the daily, even down to the 4 hour, still very much bearish, respecting lower lows and lower highs. Pretty much what we saw here is we had come down to this low, We came down to this low, we pulled back, we hit this lower high area. So I'm designating that because we had 38.2 daily resistance, previous low right here, and we rejected it. We rejected it twice. We didn't push to the downside, but we did reject this twice, and then we ultimately had this bullish candle. So just think of it in terms of, if you're watching this market, you had rejection, came back up, rejection again, wick, bearish engulfing, a lot of bearish price action. And then what does it do? It finds support again. So as this higher low is forming on the lower time frame, if we bump down, we can clearly see that this thing down to the 30-minute time frame is breaking highs, making new higher high, new higher low, retesting these highs, new higher low here. And that's that bearish engulfing on the 4 hour where we said, okay, price action is going bearish again. And then all of a sudden it just finds ultimately all this bullish momentum, breaks again, retest, finds support again. So right now we're riding this counter trend trade. We're riding this counter trend momentum. As I bump up to the 4 hour time frame, this thing is starting to break the 200-day. 200-day, guys, is sort of like the last level of resistance. So at this point, if this thing were to go bullish, I like to look back on this area where it broke, retested, went long. That's pretty much what we're looking for now. We're looking for this thing to continue to go bullish. We are still within this fib. So this could very much reject these levels and head back down. But we don't need to worry too much about that. There's a lot of bullish momentum at the moment, ton of bullish momentum. So buyers have stepped in, and even up to the daily time frame, buyers are crossing above this moving average. So I really feel as though until we get to this high, this previous high right here, we're going to continue to see some bullish momentum, but price action will tell us. So that's DXY. The movement is bullish right now, very overextended. Could see the retest here, so we'll keep that in mind. Let's go over to, let's bring AU down because Nick will go over that. Let's come over to NU. So NU is starting to make a little push now, which is going to set us up pretty nicely. I want to just start up on the monthly time frame. So we had this, I actually used this tool last night for the first time. I'm going to take that off though, so it's not up. So up to the monthly time frame, guys, pretty much on NU, just two things on this monthly. We had this very weak bearish engulfing variation, large wick, moving average started to cross, but this thing is overall very bearish. It's been bearish, still bearish. Coming down to the weekly time frame, so down to the weekly, again, retesting these highs multiple times, 1, 2, 3 times. So I was expecting another sell-off because as long as we're below this level, pretty much bearish on this. And then we're coming down to the daily right here. We got Nick joining the chat, entering the arena. So I'm about to unmute this guy. It's good, Nick.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
Not much. Just did crazy movement overnight on everything.
No, it's been
USD's pumping. That little arrow I drew last night on DXY. It's a big one.
Yeah, it shot up. Yeah, that thing went bullish as hell.
Yeah, this thing went really bullish. That gap up was big. All right, so I'm gonna finish up with mine, and then you can get into it.
Oh my god, you.
So on back to NU, guys. Pretty much on this daily time frame, what we saw here is this double top push down, and then you could see I drew this big flag. So this flag is a continuational pattern, guys. Normally, whenever you see flags, they mean that it's after or it's following a large push in one direction, and then price just starts to consolidate, fails to form any real highs, and ultimately we're looking for it to break out of this and to head lower. So we were testing these highs right here up at the top, and pretty much I was looking for a short opportunity in this area. Let's break this down further because we had multiple confirmations here. We had this weekly resistance, this trend line, and then we were ultimately just at a high. Now, we did get some bearish price action, but as I teach in the course, I want to break this down. There wasn't a clear-cut entry on this. unless we were being very aggressive. So coming down to the 30-minute structure on this time frame was bullish all the way, forming highs, high or low. Ultimately, the only opportunity on this for a sell, because we like to wait for the actual breaks of structure and the retest. This was that bearish engulfing, didn't break anything. And then this was that first lower high point right here. So this was that first lower high point that formed. We could have entered on that if we were in on this, if we were up last night. Let me see what time.
I mean, this was a pretty quick move too. You really had to be stalking this and ready to pull the trigger on this little variation here.
Right. Which
There's
we
no,
were, which we were. I mean, we were
oh,
looking, but it just happened at 3:30 a.m.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
There's yeah, so I mean, if you're awake, you're awake. If you're not, you're not.
Yeah,
Kind of,
we were looking at this, but just the reason why this would be a little bit early, but it still is a decent entry, is because we do have a ton of confirmations in the higher time frame. You are at the top of this trend line, at the top of this channel. You do have weekly resistance here. Did have that bearish engulfing, but ultimately, if you waited and waited for the break of this would be a super aggressive entry. It's just kind of off the 200-day where you just get the break below. Ultimately, guys, what you're really waiting for is some sort of pullback. As we can see, this thing's not pulling back for shit. It's just dumping now. It's just falling very far. So NU is ultimately getting very bearish, is what I'm getting at. It's very bearish. It's hitting, it's breaking all these levels, pushing downward. The next level that we could see it get to at this point is going to be this 4-hour.
boom, there it is.
So this,
Legendary.
yeah,
Tool.
the legendary arrow. So this 4-hour is going to be tested. Whether it is respected or whatnot is, we'll see. But that's the next level that NU is going to be coming into, again, looking for this flag to ultimately break and head down. So let's go now to GU. So GU is looking very similar. GU is looking all of these. EU, dude, EU,
Everything moved. EJ, did you see EJ? The movement.
that short I had earlier this week. Damn.
EJ moved overnight. It's pulling back a little bit now.
So let's look at GU. Let's go up to the weekly time frame. So weekly time frame on GU, we've been bearish 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of this zone. Then we started to climb up, but this is very weak, guys. This is a weak push upward. Had this large wick on this weekly candle. Coming down to the daily now, I started to notice daily time frame has been very bullish, forming highs, high or low, high or low here. Moving averages are crossed to be bullish. So that's why I was waiting, down to the 4-hour. We're in this channel. We were climbing, seeing if we could potentially find support here and head bullish. And ultimately, what happened here is we just failed. We had this bullish engulfing, came down, never failed to find support here. And what I mean by that is down to this 1-hour time frame, guys. We had just very bearish price action, forming lows, lower high, low, lower high here. Also, we had this very minor break right here. We didn't break this high though. Came up, started to get some bullish price action, failed, and this thing just dumped to the downside. So there was no clear-cut short on this in this area. What I will say though, now that it's breaking this 4-hour channel, ultimately, now that it's actually breaking out of this, what I'm looking for is we need to see this daily structure or daily moving averages start to cross. So as we see these start to cross, see previously how it's just dipped down, respected, even here, came all the way down to this area, pulled back up. What that looks like on the 1-hour is 1-hour is clearly very bearish at this point. And just a rule, guys, don't enter on a low. So don't enter on this low right here. We're trying to always enter at these lower high points, lower high points, lower high points, so just wait on this. The 1-hour looks like it's going to be a good time frame for structure. Again, this thing could continue to push down a little bit more. right now. So just there's no clear cut entry at the moment. But as soon as we get that pullback, GU looks as though it's going to continue to be bearish until it breaks this level. It comes all the way back up above the 200-day, above 1.30500. We're bearish. Until it comes back up above those levels, we're bearish. So GU extremely bearish. So is NU. Let's get over to UCAD. Let's bump up to the weekly time frame on UCAD. So this thing has been freaking fooling us, but earlier in the week when we did our analysis, it turns out that basically what we were saying was going into the week had this 200-day moving average and then these two like spinning top candles. So that was kind of confirmation that we're going to reverse at this level right here. That's what we were saying going into the week. Then the week opened, started to open up very much bearish right here. Let's go back. 27. Yeah. So it opened up, had this at the bottom here, then just shot up and then shot up again right here. But as we go down time frames, daily, very much bearish. Lows, lower high, low, lower high. We were below the moving averages here. And then what started to happen was as I bumped down to the 4-hour time frame, there was no clear cut buy on this. To be completely honest, at least this is from what I'm looking for. We're going to break this down as though there was a potential buy. Like this 4 hours bearish too. Lows, lower high, retested this low, came up, retested this high, came down. And then ultimately we had this variation, this bullish engulfing on the 4-hour time frame right here. Boom. So we had this variation. This showed that even though we pulled down, we found some support in that area. And then as we come under the 30-minute, we could see 30-minute again, we had this 30-minute level that needed to be broken. It broke above right there. So there's no real, in my opinion, clear-cut entry on this one, guys. Pretty much what I'm waiting for is some 4-hour structure. And 4-hour structure was indicating us to be very much bearish. So that's fine. That's completely fine. That's why I had this one a little bit lower on my list right here. I wasn't looking for any entries on this. Yeah, the 200-day just went right through. So what I'm looking at now, we need some sort of structure to form so we can get an actual clear-cut entry. This just broke this level, this resistance level. This is our lower high that just formed. So I'm going to delete this fib. I'm going to bring on, whenever this finds a new resistance level. So as this is forming a new high, we need a bullish bearish variation before I bring on my next fib. And I'm going to start that fib at this level right here. So I would start it at this first bullish candle in this push. And then whenever this finds some sort of resistance, that's when we're going to bring on our fibs and we're going to, trace this new high right here, just this new trend. So nothing doing on UCAD at the moment. I know we just had a large bullish push, but again, just sticking to structure. There was nothing unless we were being a little bit aggressive on that. There was nothing doing for entries on that. So UCAD, just keeping this one kind of lower on my list. So let's go over to USEF now. Let's bump up to the weekly time frame, monthly. So monthly time frame on USEF, there was a little bit better confirmations on this one. Last month closed with a bullish engulfing candle, which is obviously very significant. We're also at this support level. As we break this down to lower time frames, we took this from previous levels as well. So this level right here is definitely a support level, but USEF on the weekly still very much bearish, below the moving averages. Last week's candle closed extremely bearish. So we were kind of just basing this off of every time we've come into this level, buyers have stepped in, and that's continuing. Yeah, I have Nick's. I call it Nick's allergies now.
Yeah, not how that works, guys.
Oh my god,
The burdens, they suck, don't they?
dude, I don't know what it is.
The sniffles are the worst.
Oh. All right, so as we come down into this low right here, this support level, a lot of buyers stepped in. So let's just break this down to the daily And how could we have potentially taken advantage of this? Down to the daily, this is still bearish. So if I fib all the way from this previous lower high, we can fib down to here. As we can see, we had slight pullbacks, but we wicked that 38.2. So I'm just going to continue to fib down, fib down. Ultimately, we came up, hit this 38.2. So this is daily structure. I'm just going to mark this off right here. Boom. So this is daily. And then as we come down to the 4 hour, again, very much bearish. We came up, rejected this 38.2, pushed down. So this becomes, or this became our 4 hour each money. So this became our 4 hour level. And then pretty much yesterday, we came up to this level, had the double top, had a lot of resistance here. And then like the market's just been doing lately, it just continued to go against, ultimately this level of resistance that was formed. Huge bullish candle broke right through. And then now this thing has continued to go higher and higher. So this has transitioned a bit on this 4 hour time frame. We want to keep the daily in mind. The daily is ultimately still very much bearish. The next level that this thing is going to come to at this point is going to be right around near this 200-day level. Let's use the daily. I'm just going to mark this off. So we have, based on resistance, support, and resistance right there, we have a nice level. Ultimately, guys, we're looking for price to come up into this level right here before really anything happens. So once it comes up into this level, it could either find some rejection there, and we'll look for shorts, or this thing could continue higher. In that case, we would look for something like this. So if we start to get on USEF some sort of like flag right here, I'm going to look to buy into this level. And this level's about just 30 pips away. So this is kind of more of an intraday type move. But long term, we're looking to see how it reacts to this resistance up here. So that's USEF. Do anticipate this thing heading a bit higher. EU. So this is a trade we actually put out earlier in the week, and we got stopped by 1 pip, I believe. So let's just break this down. Weekly time frame, we were all the way at this high point, and we formed this wall of resistance based on all these candles, all these wicks. I know we had some bullish price action. We had this bullish engulfing, but this was still very much a level of resistance previously. It's acted as resistance as well. So I was looking for this to have some sort of fall off down to the daily time frame. Daily basically broke this level right here, formed resistance there, and then came up, was testing this level again, was getting kind of choppy. But again, I was, based on that weekly, I was kind of just really anticipating for this thing to fall off. I was anticipating for it to just get weaker and weaker. And earlier in the week, this is pretty much what we saw. The entry we had just was a little bit early. We had this high form, we pulled back to 38.2, and then we ultimately had this lower high for moving averages went red over blue. And the entry we're looking at was right in here. So as I break this down to a lower time frame, I believe we entered on this right here. So we had this like 30-minute pullback through the moving averages. And then this was the position. We had it at, I believe the stops were at 8.0 right there.
Like a 32 pip stop, basically.
Yeah, the stops were at 8.0. It freaking hit 8.1 or like 8.5, hit like 9 right around the area. So stops were a little bit close. Ultimately we had 2 other entry opportunities on this. We had this opportunity, and then we had another opportunity right there where it dumped again. But this thing was just very much bearish on this 30-minute. Started to just flow in a downtrend. 30-minute broke this level, formed this lower high, pushed down, respected this high, pushed down. Then we started to respect the 200-day right there. And then as we could see now, we're pushing down again So no entry on this, but just kind of a lesson, guys. Sometimes this does happen. This entry was a tad bit early. I think a lesson from this would have been not to give up on the trade. There were
Yeah.
two more potential entries. There was one right here that we could have gotten in on. Even if we played this back, so if we come back to here, we can see 200-day getting tested, large bearish engulfing candle. Wouldn't exactly enter on that. Would wait for the cross of the moving averages, and then that happens. Obviously can't enter on anything with that, and then comes back up, and then again, what are we waiting for? We're really ultimately waiting for moving averages to cross. So this would have been really the best entry based on our rules. Could have put stops above this level again. And then ultimately, this thing fell into some great profits here. So this one, was by the standards of like the 4 hour was a little bit of a counter trend trade, but we were just sticking to this weekly resistance. This weekly is very clearly forming a wall up here. Daily time frame, was starting to get weaker and weaker. So it was just a move that was just anticipated based on the 4 hour lower high forming, and the entry was definitely there. So EU, where is it going
This thing is
next?
trucking though. Holy crap, dude.
Dude, yeah, I know. This thing was a serious fucking trade.
Yeah, it just moves. Just freaking moves. Can you hit the 1 hour for a second? I just want to see one thing.
Yeah.
You see that the first blue box you drew? See
Yeah.
that little wick to the left? If your stop loss was above that, what would your risk to reward be? Like, let's say we're trying to reevaluate the trade here,
What,
right?
this way?
Yeah, like if your stop loss was above that, would you have been safe and still met all your rules as far as risk to reward go? Just about 2 to 1 for where you are.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to just go back and reanalyze, guys. Figure out, where your trade went wrong, where your trade went right. It's just good to think of it in those terms.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, like the 30-minute, this was a valid entry, but again, it was just a little bit aggressive. Like
Yeah,
even looking down to the 30-minute, we could have, that wick that Nick's talking about. We had all of this room to potentially retrace here, and we always talk about this. We had all of this room to potentially retrace, and ultimately the two levels that we're looking for it to respect are 38.2 and 61.8. Just gonna take this one off. Are 38.2 and 61.8. So really looking back on this, even though I entered here, I should have at a minimum put it outside of 618 because I was entering on really a continuational push right here. So we had all this room. We had 38.2, 618 to retest. So if I put it right outside the 618, I would have been golden. Would have been fine. So that's a little lesson on that one. EU. So this thing is trucking down.
yeah, it did
Now,
help there. So at least you were on the right side of the market.
yeah, let's go to GU. So this is actually a trade that I gave yesterday on the live session. This thing's up fucking 5 to 1. Um, it's fucking GJ.
Yeah.
So weekly time frame, very much bearish on
Oh,
this. Weekly
like,
time frame, very much bearish. Had the moving averages start to cross here. So that was another indication that we were bearish, that wick going into the week. Daily time frame, we formed this high, pulled back, and we had this like double top that was actually even closed a little bit lower. So that was, and the moving averages started to cross on that as well. And then down to the 4 hour time frame, earlier in the week, I know we talked about this was 4 hour support, and we were looking for how this was gonna, this is the level that we need to test, see what was gonna happen. And basically, we were just looking for shorts all along this 30-minute trend right here. This was just forming lows, lower high, low, lower high, lows. We entered yesterday on this during the session. This was the trade that was put out. Ultimately, we had some other pullbacks. We had this one. That was another entry on there. Even if we entered on this one a little bit lower, stops could have been up outside of this area. This was that high that was need to be respected for the trends to be consistent. And then this thing, just dumped pretty far. This is a massive move
big
right.
volume, big.
It's a massive move right now. Pretty much looking at this back up to the daily time frame. This thing's chugging pretty hard, and it's right on the 200-day as well. So this thing has room to push right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this thing looks very similar to here, where it's just trucking through this 200-day. This thing has a lot of room to fall. So really what I'm looking for right now is, this daily level. This thing could come all the way down to this daily level. This is the previous level that it found support at. So GJ's on the fall right now. No entries at the moment. But that is what's going down. And then we had EJ yesterday. I know you're gonna take a look at this. This thing just continued to fall. All right. So that's everything that I had for you guys. All the pairs that I had. I went over GJ, NU, GU, USEF, EU, and UCAD. I'm going to pass this off to Nick. If you guys want to get in on the giveaway, just post your Discord name in the chat, and you guys will be entered in on the giveaway. We'll announce that later in the week. So Nick, why don't you go ahead and give you some permissions here.
Yep. Awesome. All right, guys. So yeah, definitely great analysis, Angelo. Definitely get into the giveaway, guys. Drop your name in chat. So I'm going to start off here. I'm going to cover all the pairs that I normally do: DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. But we're going to start off a little differently because we're going to just reference the Sunday analysis and kind of see how we played out. And then I'm going to jump onto the chart and go over new trade scenarios. Okay, so let's just start on DXY. This was the analysis we put out on Sunday. Just want to show you guys the two trade scenarios we had. We were originally bearish as we maintained below this daily, but we also had a bullish trade scenario drawn out here as well. Looking for a break back into the pattern, some sort of higher low. Let's see how it played out. We know it went bullish. Here's the break above. There's no retest. It kind of just surged higher, but nonetheless, we're looking to make a move into this 94 handle where we're going to reanalyze. So we'll jump to the chart. I'll give you guys two more trade scenarios on this one and kind of plot where we could see DXY going this week. But yeah, guys, I mean, good analysis here. It played out. Didn't get the rejection, but we got the break. So now we're long. So that's DXY. Let's move on to AU. This is the analysis from Sunday. Again, we were favoring a long opportunity, but we also drew the bearish scenario where we're looking for a break of this 4-hour, some sort of lower high below, and then a move down towards the monthly. Let's see how it played out. Okay, so we just continued to consolidate until we saw some bearish movement. Here's that giant bearish candle breaking the 4-hour. So there could be an entry here if we see some sort of pullback and then a lower high we could enter on. That's possible, but we're definitely in this lower range now. So we're looking to get down towards this weekly break and this monthly. Again, I'm going to jump to a chart and show you guys the trade scenarios for AU. But either way, it's playing out pretty well. Next, AJ. Okay, two trade scenarios, looking for a long or looking for a break lower. This thing dumped like crazy. So we continued to consolidate a little more after Sunday, right? Then we finally broke this 1-hour. Quick retest right here. That there was an entry, and then you could have shorted down towards the weekly. Okay, so this played out well. Everything kind of went with the secondary trade scenario this week, which is fine. I mean, we're ready for either scenario, both bullish and bearish options. But this one, just was a nice play on this 1-hour break, quick retest, and then you could have entered on that lower time frame entry, obviously. But we're going to jump to a chart and go over other scenarios. All right, next we got UJ. Okay, so here was that bearish outlook, and here's that bullish outlook. Let's see how it played out. Bearish outlook, perfect. It came back up to the 50%, gave us a nice engulfing right here, moved through our 1-hour, didn't retest the 1-hour. Maybe on a very low time frame, we saw a quick retest on the back end of some candle. But either way, this, it broke through the 1-hour. Looks like it's coming back for a retest now, and then we'll be ready to enter on a lower high below 104.5. So again, I'll jump to a chart, give you guys the new trade scenarios in a second once we finish this. But yeah, I mean, this thing is just, it's pretty much following the trade path. Absolutely perfect. So looking pretty good. All right, next we got EJ. All right, so this one, this was trapped in a range, as we discussed on Sunday. Resistance being this daily zone, support being this 4-hour. Was showing a little bit, favoritism towards the bulls here. We started getting a higher low within this range. So, maybe it was going to break higher. Either way, we weren't going to take a trade within this range, looking for a higher low above the daily or a lower high below the 4-hour. Let's see how it played out. Obviously, we saw a dump, so huge amount of movement pushing right through for the 4-hour. So this is a good area because we want to see maybe a little more momentum, and then a pullback or any sort of pullback now would be pretty ideal. And then we'll be looking for a lower high in this 4-hour area that we could then enter on. So this one's looking good, guys. This is a nice prospect. We could definitely see something pretty soon on EJ. So I'll jump to the chart, give you guys the new scenarios in a second, but let's just wrap up with gold here. Okay, very similar on EJ, guys. We're always favoring bullish opportunities first on gold because just all sentiments support a bullish outlook. So for the most part, but anyway, we were trapped between these two zones, like we just saw in EJ. Daily zone being the resistance, 4-hour being the support. Let's see how it played out. And this shot straight to the 4-hour. So still no trade here yet, as this could reject or it could break. So we'll be ready for either scenario. I think it's time to jump over to the chart now and start drawing up some trade scenarios. I just wanted to show you guys this because of how big of a tool this is. We had every movement that happened on these 6 pairs was captured in the Sunday analysis, right? We were aware of, both potential ways the market could have gone and how we could have benefited from that, where we could have, placed potential trades. And I think this week was a good example of that. So definitely looking good, guys. So definitely utilize these analyses. Again, we post them in Discord and on Telegram. They're there for your reference, guys. Obviously, they have some accuracy. So definitely use them. Definitely use them. All right, guys. So we're going to start off on DXY here. Daily time frame, we are now very much bearish. We were bullish for a while. We broke this daily higher low, so we went bearish on the daily. Let's go to the 4-hour. Just get a closer look at this bit of consolidation here. Okay, there we go. We had a huge drop down to our monthly zone. Then we got tons of consolidation. Quick pullback to 94. Didn't have the conviction to continue. We're looking for a higher low here. It didn't happen. This was just a failed break. Pulls back, turns into resistance again at this zone, then starts making moves lower. We're breaking higher lows, turning into more of a bearish trend now. Okay, so we broke support, found a new low, came back, broke this daily zone. So it went bullish right here after this daily zone was broken. I would expect the max for it to pull back would be this zone right here. So I definitely think it's going to get into this zone, in which case we'll have to reanalyze. So let's do this. I want to do, I'm going to get rid of that. Daily zone. Actually, I want that back. I like the labeling. Right. All right, cool. So from here, technically this is still bearish, right? So this is lower high here. This is just another high, testing that lower high. This zone has weight to it. So we could see price action pull back to here and then reject. So these are our two scenarios. Something like this. But if this happened, again, we would have to reanalyze. If we saw rejection and then a move down towards this trend line, we'd have to reanalyze and, come up with two trade scenarios again, either rejection or a break, in which case we'll be ready for that. But these, for right now, either momentum is going to stop on a dime pretty much at the zone, start to reverse, or it's going to blow through the zone, in which case we're looking super bullish then. Okay, looking to enter on, looking for some higher lows outside of 94 to confirm a very strong, excuse me, bullish trend. All right, so this is DXY right now. I mean, there's just so much volume, guys. We really just got to wait to see how this zone reacts. Not much we can do at this moment. However, we can jump to the daily and check our targets, see if any of this makes sense, or we're just making shit up, right? If it rejects here, for price action to reach this trend line is very, very likely. I would even assume if this was a nice high volume, lower high right here, we could definitely see price action reach 0% again, because again, volume, we need to see that volume. Any consolidation is just going to represent indecision. So the fact that we have this much movement is a good thing. Okay, so we'll be looking for that rejection, make a play down towards 0%, or wait for a break of 94, higher low above it. And then we could choose, very high targets pretty much up around this daily zone where this 200 EMA is, and so on. Okay, and I wouldn't be surprised if it pull back either. It's not, abnormal. This is a pretty big move, so a pretty big retest would be warranted. So we'll see. All right, so this is the 4 hour. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. Definitely bullish as hell, though. I mean, that movement overnight was insane. So let's jump on to AU. Okay, huge drop in price action. Not many bullish scenarios that we're looking at right now. So, I mean, we'll get to that in a second. But right now, definitely super bearish. Ideally, what we want to see, I mean, there's tons of volume here, tons of momentum. I would like to see a push a little bit lower, then a pullback with a lower high, something we could enter on, target back down towards this weekly, and ultimately wait for this zone to break, the 0.70 handle, in which case we'll reanalyze, look to enter on, look for some lower highs, look for this trend to continue, and so on. But guys, this volume is just nuts. That is a giant candle. All right, so this is that short opportunity we're looking at. Need some sort of consolidation, pullback, entry with some confirmations, and so on. All right, but if this goes bullish, what do we need to see to make a trade? To change the trend, for starters, we need to see a higher low above 0.715. I need to get above these lower highs here. Nice higher low, continuation through this daily zone. That would be ideal. However, this would be a pretty somewhat risky trade. This daily zone is, rejecting pretty heavily. We actually saw price action move all the way up to 72.5 basically, and then reject. So this would have to be a really, really nice move. I really want to see a nice, some good confirmations here. Nice movement, price action. Ideally, this would even be a little more conservative for me. I would like to see a higher low above this daily zone. Then I'd feel a little more comfortable taking a long off that. Let's go to the daily, see if it makes sense as far as targets. Yep, price action to reach this monthly, very, very likely. I mean, we're pretty much there already. We're just trying to catch a nice little pullback, lower high, short into the monthly. But if this breaks to the upside, we get a higher low above this daily zone. I mean, this thing could run. First target would be 735. And then ultimately this weekly. I mean, obviously depending on the volume and so on, how long you plan on holding the trade. But I mean, these are our targets, guys. This is the next leg. If this were to continue bullish, definitely find ourselves somewhere high in this new range here towards this weekly zone, okay? But yeah, I mean, weekly is bullish, daily's bearish, 4 hours bearish. So we'll see. We'll see how this little bit of indecision here plays out. But yeah, massive zone at 0.7. So we'll see. We will see. All right, move on to AJ. Daily time frame first. Very bullish for a while. Shot all the way up into this monthly zone. Started getting some breaks of higher lows. Daily higher low break right here. That's our transition. Shot down to the weekly, retested, and now we're moving lower. We're actually breaking a weekly zone right now, because this was break a weekly structure here. Lower high. Price action moved through it, gave us a higher low. So this zone has some weight to it. If we can break below this zone, this thing could be in for one hell of a drop. So let's zoom out. Let's get a closer look at AJ. We're here on the 4 hour. Okay, just kind of breaking this down. Here's that rejection of the daily. So it broke through it, hit the weekly, came back, tested the daily, rejected the daily, moved lower through this 4 hour zone, breaking all these higher lows. So we're daily, we're bearish on the weekly now because we just broke this weekly zone. Bearish on the weekly, bearish on the daily, bearish on the 4 hour, bearish on the 1 hour. Everything here is pointing towards the bears. We're definitely looking at short opportunities first. But where does an entry come after we see this much volume, right? I'm sure a lot of us are thinking, oh, we missed the trade already. It already dropped. That's not true. We really just want to see a lower high. a lower high below this weekly zone with nice bearish setups. That's really all we need to see at this point. Quick pullback, maybe a little bit of consolidation, maybe a flag pattern. That would be ideal. But either way, we're looking for, lower high confirmation with bearish engulfings, bearish variations. We can enter on that, target lower into, major support levels. But yeah, I mean, this is what you want a break to look like. You don't want a break to be hesitant. You don't want a break to have a lot of wicks. You don't want it to be like a consolidating pattern, just breaking through a zone. You want to see high volume. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Good amount of volume, breaking through a zone with ease. That's really what you want to see. That's how you can really, really confirm that, price action is going to move in the direction you're expecting. All right, so let's go over the bullish scenario. What needs to happen for us to consider longs? I need to see a break, at least for me, above this 4-hour zone. I want to see some sort of higher low back between this range, and then maybe I'll consider long opportunities where I'm actually taking trades, and then I'll be targeting towards the top of this range, this monthly zone up here at 76.5 and so on. So looking pretty good on AJ. Good freaking movement. So definitely keep an eye out for this short opportunity, guys. All right. Remember, reference those analysis. It's exactly the same chart I'm showing you now. I'm just dropping time frames, so you can use that tool, with your own chart and get an idea of what we're looking at the same time. All right, let's go on to UJ. EJ, and gold. UJ is just super bearish on all higher time frames. You just see it's just super bearish, tons and tons of lower highs, all pushing price action into one zone, this 104.5 handle right here. All right, so let's go ahead and drop to the 4-hour and just get a closer look at current price action. So recently we had this huge push to the downside, nice little break up a higher low here, shoots down to 104.5, pulls back, forms this kind of super slow advanced head and shoulders pattern where you'll see multiple peaks on each side where the shoulders would be. So took a while to develop. Eventually it did reverse, off 106, gave us a lower high, broke lower through these higher lows, 4-hour break of structure, moved lower, gave us a flag pattern, and then ultimately executed at a time where no one is awake. But that's trading, guys. So this was a really, really nice trade. Let me just get rid of these price labels. Okay. What? Oh, that's what it was. Whoops. All right, cool. So it executed at like 4:30 for us at some bullshit time. So we missed that trade earlier in the week. That's all right. It played out. Our sentiment was right. It blew through this 1-hour zone, blew through 104.5. But does this have the weight? Does this have the significance to or the momentum to stay below 104.5? Because this zone is really the deciding area. So if we get a lower high off this zone, I like how it didn't rip back super quick with high volume like it was filling. Like price action was getting into an area where there were a whole bunch of buy orders. I like that we don't see that. That shows that this is actually a very strong trend. We could really be seriously breaking this level now. But from this level, essentially, we're looking for a sort of lower high. Just any sort of lower high below this 1-hour zone. Let me draw in here a good pullback. Whoops. You also, like an MA pullback would be nice as well. And then an MA cross with like a bearish setup or something, bearish variation. That would be ideal, always is one of our favorite outlooks for a trade. Our favorite setups. So like a nice pullback to the MAs, nice MA cross and a bearish engulfing, and then we're short as hell. So this could be a really nice trade. I would actually target lower, go to 61.8 to start, because again, guys, this zone has so much significance. Once this trend does commit, it's gonna run, because this is a higher trend or higher time frame zone right here, and this is just gonna be a very aggressive break. I think could really send us to new lows here. So yeah, that's what we're looking for, some sort of lower high with the right confirmations. We're gonna be patient. I'm not really gonna force anything here. Just want to see what fits my rules. All right, so definitely looking bearish as shit on UJ. Pretty excited though. This is a nice setup. I'm waiting on this forever, it feels like. But guys, let's consider long opportunities. What needs to happen for us to consider any sort of long? That'd be a breakup of this 4-hour, some sort of higher low, and even then, it's not like clearly, oh, this is bullish now. You know, it's not, because as long as we remain below 106, we still have that overview of, you know, bearish sentiment. You know, so first step would be a break of this 4 hour, nice higher low. Maybe you could take a trade from this into this 106 handle and then reanalyze from there. But ideally, for a massive correction, we want to see a break of 106. Higher lows above 106, guys, that's bullish all day long. But as you can see clearly, there's just tons and tons of resistance before that'll even happen. This is probably, you know, well over 100 pips away, 150 pips away. So yeah, a lot needs to happen for this to go bullish, guys. So in the meantime, UJ shorts, have fun with it. Be patient. It's looking good. It's looking good. Let's move on to EJ, and then we'll wrap it up with gold. EJ just freaking drilling a hole to the center of the earth. This thing is just falling like crazy. All right, so EJ, overall, we were very bearish, very strong bearish channel for a very long time. Finally got a break of that channel and a transition to a bullish trend on this break. These weekly lower highs were broken, got a weekly higher low, and then a huge continuation into our monthly zone at 126.5. Got a slow reversal, 3 peaks, nice lower high on the final, broke through this daily zone right here. So let's go ahead and drop down, get a closer look at what's going on up here. Okay, so we had a daily transition. Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bearish as these higher lows were broken. That changed the trend. Price action pulled all the way back to 61.8, fitting that kind of weekly fib. Hit the 61.8, pushes up, tests the daily zone, then forms a range between the daily resistance, 4 hour support. And we had 2 trade scenarios where we thought it was going to go long. Again, it really looked like it was going to go long, where we were getting a higher low here. So we wanted to see another higher low above this daily zone. Didn't happen, obviously. This kind of flatlined, fell off, and then just blew through these support levels. Minor higher low, through this trend line, through this 4 hour support. So it absolutely melted these levels, guys. Definitely looking more bearish than anything else right now. Let's redraw some scenarios for you. So short opportunity on EJ. This one's pretty straightforward, guys. Looking for some sort of lower high. So all that needs to happen now, essentially, for, you know, our logic is we need to see that this zone is going to hold. We need to see that we're going to get a retracement and then positive rejection from this 4 hour, kind of showing us that this is a healthy trend. There's a retracement involved, but yet these resistance zones are still holding, you know, favoring a further, you know, bearish outlook. So that's what we want to see. And then we'll be looking to enter on that right below this 4 hour. This could be a nice trade. Good amount of range on this. How many pips? Just over 200 or 200 thereabout. So yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. That looks phenomenal to me. All right, so let's talk long opportunities, guys. First thing that needs to happen, we need to see a higher low pretty much back into this range. Pretty much anything above it. Wow, that is going nuts. Pretty much anything above this 4 hour, we need to see some higher lows. That's still not enough to take a long. It's enough to get us thinking about long positions. Ideally, we're going to stick to the original analysis and wait for a break of this daily zone. Because, guys, we're not in a rush to really. That is not the right thing to grab. We're not trying to force a trade. You know, I want to let these setups come to us. So wait for a break of this daily zone, higher low above it, and then we can comfortably say we're long. Then we could comfortably make some trades, and you know, hopefully get some good sleep while these trades are running, so we're not stressing. So that's what we want to see for our rules. Nice higher low above this daily. Because again, guys, if this breaks back above this 4 hour, we're just back in this range. Let me get rid of this trend line. Then we're just back in this range. And yes, you could trade the range. I know I say that, but you know, I'm always for the conservative option first. So looking for a higher low above the daily. Just go to the daily time frame real quick, check our targets, see if this makes sense. Yep, breaks this daily. Very likely we'll find price action at this monthly. If we get a nice lower high below this 4 hour, hinting at a trend continuation, we could find ourselves at this weekly. Yeah, definitely. Only thing that's a little sketchy right now is this 200 EMA is right here, pretty much halfway through this 4 hour in this weekly zone. But we'll see. We'll see how it reacts. Definitely super bearish on EJ though. All right, guys, last one. Let's do it. Let's wrap it up with gold here. Daily time frame, gold, bullish as hell. Everyone knows this. It's just common knowledge. Super, super bullish. Recently got a break of 1800, shot straight up to 2070. Started forming this little descending rectangle, tons of lower highs. Key support at 1930. Finally saw that break. So now we're at a daily bearish trend, weekly bullish trend. Let's go to the 4-hour and get a closer look. Okay, here it is, the giant descending triangle. I don't have the trend line because I didn't want the clutter, but lower high, lower high, lower high. Key support, that's a descending triangle. It broke this daily zone, shot lower, much like we saw in EJ, hit the 60-1-8 for that weekly fib, pulls back, tests the daily, then forms a range, just bouncing between this daily and 4-hour. And even though we got a shitload of volume recently, it's still within this range. It's still testing this 4-hour zone. So let's talk trade scenarios. Right, we're still within this range. You guys could play the range if you want, where you're buying at the low. Look for some sort of lower time frame confirmation, like probably on the 15-minute, maybe even less, depending on your strategy. Again, I don't recommend it. I always like the conservative trade, but guys, I mean, these trades are here. If you can catch them, if whatever your tolerance level is. But anyway, so right now we're still within a range. Ideally, we want to see a break of the range. So if we got this, a little move below this 4-hour, we're looking to make a play down to the weekly. We place an entry on a lower high. Nice confirmed lower high. Strong bearish setups. Boom, we're short. Okay, so that's definitely looking like the more likely trade option now, especially with all this bearish volume. So we'll keep that in mind. However, bullish scenarios, what are they? High or low above this daily zone, above 1930. That's kind of the key area. If we can get through that, a nice higher low, we're targeting new highs. All these prior lower highs can be potential targets, and then ultimately, the high at 2070 is going to be a long-term target. So we'll see how this plays out, guys. I mean, gold's been kind of tricky since the range started early September or late September. So I kind of just got to wait on it. I mean, I'm not gonna. Gold is definitely not one pair that I want to just be over trading. So I'm gonna wait on it. Gold is not forgiving. But anyway, guys, quick recap. Covered DXY, bullish as hell. AU, bearish as hell. AJ, bearish as hell. UJ, bearish. Looking for a nice short opportunity here, guys, at 104.5. Look for that lower high. EJ, super bearish. Needs to prove a little bit. Looking for that retracement, though. And then gold, stuck within a range still. But yeah, that's it, guys. So definitely check the analysis. Like I showed you guys in the beginning. I mean, you guys should definitely be utilizing this. There's a lot here. There's even little breakdowns that we give you guys of what we're looking at. So, definitely good reference. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the live trading session. Do you want to share up?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Okay.
Boom.
Yes, Leo. Gold is
Yes.
very
So any final questions that you guys have, feel free to put it into the chat. Like Nick said, keep up with the Discord. For you guys that are new, if you have trouble navigating in here, just shoot us a question. You can just come to this home tab and type in our name here if you guys want to start a conversation with us. We are going to post the analysis for today in the premium analysis chat when we see any sort of trade opportunities present themselves. If you guys want to get in on this, it's just $7 one-time fee. You can just come into the start here section and use this checkout link. We do have our course on sale right now. Normally it's $4.99. Right now we're having a sale going. We've got 4 spots left. It's $2.99. Everything that's included is the videos. So full 6-week course teaching you guys the fundamentals of trading.
Which, by the way, is always added to. So it's a course with a set amount of videos, but it's always being added to with version 2s, webinars, trade review videos. It's just always being expanded on, and that price point is never going to change. You're never going to be charged again for all those future videos.
It's just a one-time fee. There's a lot that's included in here. I'll get in touch with some of you guys. Messaged me already. I'll get in touch with you guys today. but pretty much everything included in one-on-ones. Me and Nick are both available to take one-on-ones. The trading plan, private chat, psychology training, fundamentals, weekly webinars, and most importantly, the positive community. So, I know today we went over a lot of our analysis at a high level. It's good for you guys to follow along, but before you get to the point where you're trading, if you're not trading yet on your own, if you are just a beginner, you got to learn the basics. You got to learn the fundamentals, and there's no better way to learn it than from people who are doing it every single day. And also within our community, what we're seeing lately is we're seeing a lot more traders become more experienced, and there's some cool things going on where people are really challenging each other to become better. So ultimately, what you're joining is just a team of people, team of traders trying to expand your network and also get some solid education in there. So yeah, right now it's 40% off, $299. If you guys want in on that, if you want one of the final spots, just shoot me a message after the live session and we'll discuss more about that. And if you want more information, we have a little video for you guys. So just let me know. And as always, thank you guys for the support, for staying on for the live session. We really appreciate it. A little bit longer session today, which is fine. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 8 a.m. for the last session of the week. So guys, stay ready, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys. Oh, wait. It signals throughout the day or 7.
What'd somebody say?
Well, so premium analysis is $7, which is just the chart leading up to a trade. The signals themselves are 75 a month. It's actually a subscription.
Yeah, if you guys want the signals, it's included in this lifetime membership package. The premium analysis is just us getting ready for trades, just showing lower time frame analysis in there. So it is not signals, but it's just a continuation on these live sessions. And we have here, no problem. All right, so we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you guys soon.
Perfect. Peace, guys.
Peace.